All right, hello, and welcome back to the Broken Business Models podcast. We're your hosts, Ryan and James. And before we get into today's podcast, just a quick disclaimer how we start each of these. Nothing in this podcast should be taken as investment advice. James and I could have positions in any of the stocks we may mention, and we reserve the right to change those positions at any time. So make sure to always do your own work and consult with a professional before making any investment decision. With that being said, the topic of today's podcast is going to be the recent cracks that have been forming in the quantum computing rally. So, as you may know, the quantum computing rally in quantum related stocks over the past 2 or 3 months has had a pause and a pullback. As you can see here, Quantum Corp, D-Wave, and Quantum Psi, all companies that have participated in this rally, are down about on the order of 50% from their recent highs. Now, Quantum Corp and Quantum Psi in particular are not even related to, these companies are not even related to quantum computing. They just have the word quantum in their names, which kind of shows how ridiculous the rally in quantum computing stocks has become. But regardless, even after this pullback, we believe that the valuations of all of these quantum stocks is still unexplainably ridiculously high. So why has the recent rally paused? Aside from just it getting to a point of absurdity, the most recent catalyst was Jensen Huang, who is the CEO of NVIDIA, who made comments at the recent Consumer Electronics Show. He said, in relation, talking about the timeline for when quantum computing might become something that's actually useful, he said, if you picked 20 years, I think a whole bunch of us would believe it. So basically, he's saying that he believes quantum computing is still decades away from being useful. And then a few days later, Mark Zuckerberg also echoed similar sentiments on the Joe Rogan podcast. D-Wave, one of the biggest quantum computing company, pure play quantum computing companies, their CEO then went on CNBC and responded to Jensen Huang's comments. And he said that Jensen Huang is dead wrong. So the fact that he went on CNBC and gave this interview kind of rebutting these claims just highlights the fact that the quantum computing rally is very controversial, to say the least. So one of the other things that the D-Wave CEO said in that interview on CNBC is that that D-Wave is in fact commercial today. So if D-Wave is commercial, let's take a look at the revenue that these quantum related companies are able to earn. So IonQ, one of the biggest, made about $12 million of revenue last quarter. Rigetti made much less than that, $2.4 million. And D-Wave itself made less than $2 million of revenue last quarter, which puts it at about a 245 times price to sales multiple. And as I mentioned before, Quantum Corp, along with Quantum Psi, not even in the business of quantum computing. So Quantum Corp in particular, because it's so obviously ridiculous for it to have participated in this quantum computing rally, that's going to be the main focus of the rest of this podcast. And so I'll kick it over to you, James, to take it from here.
Yeah, so we're going to be digging into Quantum Corp, which, as Ryan mentioned, it is not actually a quantum computing company. It just so happens to have the word quantum in its name. And we can see as of November 2024, right before this quantum rally started picking up, Quantum Corp had a very low share price of only $3. It was basically a penny stock and had a market capitalization at that point of something like $15 million. A very tiny company that looked like it was heading towards bankruptcy. Well, then, as a result of the recent rally in quantum computing stocks, Quantum Corp got caught up in that because a lot of novice investors they just probably type the word quantum into Robinhood, and then this Quantum Corp pops up, and then so they buy the stock having done zero research. So a lot of the people who are buying shares in the Quantum Corp erroneously believe that it has something to do with quantum computing, when in reality it has nothing to do with quantum computing. So what exactly does Quantum Corp do? They make data management hardware and software. So for example, one of their customers is the website or the company bodybuilding.com. Bodybuilding.com hosts a website where they sell, like protein powder and whatever, that kind of stuff. And on their website, they have a huge number of pictures and video files of video clips that are playable on their website, like tutorials and whatever things like that. So they use Quantum Corp's hardware and software to manage all of their video library and make it such that it's playable, that a consumer can go on their website and play all these videos, and those videos are being stored in a Quantum Corp hardware, and this thing is being run by the Quantum Corp software on the back end. So it is a data management and storage company, absolutely nothing to do with quantum computing. Now, while Quantum Corp does not have anything to do with quantum computing, they have in recent months, they have claimed to be an AI company, and they claim that their data storage and management technologies will be useful for artificial intelligence, because to train large language models and the like, you need a way of storing large amounts of data. So they have kind of spun this narrative that they are going to be benefiting from the massive surge in artificial intelligence. However, if we look at the data, their revenue has been declining over the past few years. In fact, since ChatGPT was released in the third quarter of 2022, following the release of ChatGPT, that kicked off a massive investment surge in AI-related hardware. However, Quantum Corp has actually seen its revenue continuously decline every single quarter since then. So this narrative that they're trying to spin, that they are going to be an AI beneficiary, doesn't really stand up to scrutiny, because even after the AI investment surge has kicked off, their revenue has only been declining. So it does not appear that they're actually going to be benefiting from AI. Prior to this recent rally in share price, the Quantum Corp was in a desperate financial situation. As of September 30th, 2024, the company only had $17 million of cash on its balance sheet. In the first 6 months, of their fiscal year 2025, which is the 6 months ended September 30th, 2024, they burned $20 million. So they are burning approximately $10 million a quarter, and they only had $17 million left. So at the current pace of cash burn, they will be bankrupt. They only had 2 quarters of cash left, which would be by the end of this March, they are probably on track to run out of cash. In addition to the fact that their cash balance is so small, another problem is they have approximately $130 million worth of debt that is maturing in 2026. And if we look here, the company is losing money almost every quarter. So the company is burning cash and losing money, and they are almost out of cash, and they have this massive debt that's coming due in 2026. So this was truly a desperate financial situation, and that's why the share price had been declining so much, over the past year. And as of November 19th, 2024, their share price was only $3, in which gave it a tiny market capitalization, probably like $10 or $15 million at the time, because a lot of investors could see that the company was on the brink of bankruptcy. Of course, now the situation has changed because of this. It got caught up in the quantum computing rally, and now its share price has increased more than tenfold since then. Oh yeah, and then the kind of the question, one thing that's a bit curious is the fact that when a company sees its share price increase so much and they need cash, the logical thing to do would be to issue new shares to raise capital. And given that Quantum Corp's share price has increased so much and they desperately need cash, it seems like they should be issuing shares, right, to raise capital. However, to date, they have not announced any equity raise. So that is a bit curious. Why are they not issuing new stock to raise money? Well, I'm not exactly sure why they haven't, but one potential reason is they are currently have some problems with the SEC that they need to sort through, and it might be the case that they are not able to issue new shares until they resolve these ongoing issues they have with the SEC. So this here is for their fiscal year 2024 10K, which for them, the fiscal year of 2024 is the 12 months ended March 31st, 2024. So in this 2024 10K, they disclosed that they had discovered some accounting issues, some kind of technical mistakes that they had made in relation to the revenue recognition and also the classification of some of their warrant liabilities. So as a result of these accounting issues that had come up in the 2024 10K, they had to provide restated financial statements for 2023 and 2022. So basically the previous 2 years of financial statements had to be restated. Now, so they indeed made these restatements when they released the 2024 10K. But then they got a correspondence from the SEC, and it appears that the SEC was not satisfied. Specifically, the SEC was concerned about the fact that some Quantum Corp executives were given performance-based compensation, like bonuses, based upon the company's financial performance. However, given that the company's financial performance now had to be restated, you would think that the Quantum Corp would possibly need to claw back some of that executive compensation, or if not claw it back, at least do an analysis to see whether or not they claw it back, and the results of that analysis should be disclosed to investors. So the SEC was not satisfied by the fact that this, analysis of the compensation had not been disclosed to investors, and they told Quantum Corp basically you need to make these disclosures. So here Quantum Corp responds saying, we respectfully acknowledge the staff's comment and will provide the requested disclosure in our next Form 10K filing. Now, I don't know exactly how the rules around this work, but it could be the case that Quantum Corp is not allowed to issue new shares until it resolves all these outstanding issues with the SEC, and that could explain why they have not yet announced any new equity issuance, despite the fact that they desperately need the money. Now, they said in this correspondence with the SEC that the requested disclosures will be made in their next Form 10K. And so remember that Quantum Corp has kind of a weird fiscal year where their fiscal year 2025 ends on March 31st, 2025, so a couple months from now. And then after that, and then so their fiscal year ends in March. So maybe in April or May, they would be expected to release their 2025 10K. The 2025 10K will include these requested disclosures, after which point, presumably Quantum Corp will be able to issue new shares. Now, given the fact that the company is in such a desperate financial situation, at the current rate of cash burn, they'll probably run out of cash by the end of this calendar quarter. And if they can only release their 10K and get these SEC issues resolved by May, that may not be enough time. But we're not exactly sure what's going on behind the scenes. Is it possible that the Quantum Corp would be able to that Quantum Corp may be able to issue these disclosures separately from the 10K? Maybe before they issue the 10K, they can issue an 8K or some other filing that includes the required disclosures, which would satisfy the SEC and then allow them to issue shares before that. That is indeed possible. So we're monitoring very closely Quantum Corp to see when and if they get these SEC issues sorted out. And we, kind of our expectation is that as soon as they are allowed to, they are likely to start issuing shares because they definitely need the money. And given that the share price has increased so much, why not issue shares? And this is a pretty small market cap of a company. Even after the recent rally, their market capitalization is only $180 million. And remember that they have $130 million of debt that is coming due in 2026. Now, given that the business is losing money, they are not generating cash flow that they could use to pay off this debt. So it really looks like the only way they'd be able to pay off this debt is to issue new shares to raise $130 million. If they are, given that their market capitalization is only $180 million, issuing enough shares to cover this debt would almost double the share count. Now, my hunch is that once Quantum Corp starts issuing shares, once they're allowed to start issuing shares, they're gonna, massively flood the market with new shares, which I believe will cause the stock price to tank. So that is, kind of our expectation of what's going to happen with this company and with this stock. But of course, we'll have to wait and see, and we're keeping a close eye on any disclosures or announcements the company makes that could, influence when they're able to start issuing shares. All right, so that about wraps it up for everything we had to talk about Quantum Corp today. As always, if you have any opinions and thoughts on Quantum Corp or quantum computing stocks in general, let us know in the comment section below, and we will see you all on next week's video.